Tonight on WTOP-10 Nightly News, find out what's in store for Families and Friends Weekend this year.
And vote Oswego's new campaign to urge students to register to vote.
Plus,
we're going to take a quick look at
students can now plan what classes they want to take in spring semester. We'll have more details in a bit.
WTOP-10 Nightly News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to WTOP-10 Nightly News. I'm Emma Seckner.
And I'm Nasir Mikkel.
If you're a student at SUNY Oswego, check your registration status. The date is out. Students can now see when they can begin advanced registration for spring 2025 semester and plan ahead. The earliest date for advanced registration is November 4th.
To check their registration status, students can go to Registration tab in My Oswego and use Select Term feature to pick Spring 2025. Students will then be able to figure out when they can register, if they have any holds preventing registration, and if an alternate PIN is required. Student can work with their advisor to secure an alternate PIN and create a course plan.
If you're using an oswego.edu email, you might need to back up your data soon. SUNY Oswego will be forced to operate with a lower quota of storage for their Google applications starting next month. The previously unlimited storage quantity has now been reduced to 238 terabytes. This storage capacity is still higher than the school's current usage level of 193 terabytes. The school has implemented individual storage limits for all registered users starting next February, with 15 gigabytes allocated to students and 50 allocated to staff.
This weekend, SUNY Oswego is welcoming students and families to Family and Friends Weekend. The annual tradition is bringing back favorites like the 5K Pumpkin Run and the Family Fall Fest. But this year's event, organizers have added a hockey tailgate, Sunday brunch, and family trivia night. Organizers say they're thankful for the grant awarded by Auxiliary Services, which make the weekend's events possible. For more information and links to the tickets, head to the Family and Friends page.
Ever wondered where humans originated and how they developed as a species? You might be able to get some answers soon. This week, on October 17th and 18th, a renowned Kenyan scientist is delivering lectures on human evolution. F.K. Manhiti is coming to give presentations about the emergence of current human species and new fossils found in the Lome Key area. This area is known for having the earliest tools found. The event is taking place in Lanigan Hall, room 107, and all students are welcome to attend these lectures.
SUNY Oswego has announced that they will unveil new murals for Tyler Hall's north-facing wall later next week. The new murals will be launching on Friday, October 25th from 5 to 7 p.m. The murals will feature designs created by current graduate and undergraduate students. The unveiling will be followed by a reception inside Tyler Hall on the second floor corner gallery. The event is free and open to everyone.
SUNY Oswego's Campus Technology Services is continuing their campaign for National Cybersecurity Awareness this week with an initiative to stop multi-factor authentication fraud. The common security measure, which requires users to input a code sent to their personal devices to enter websites. This has been the target of recent fraud attacks. CTS is warning students not to share authorization codes. Be proactive when receiving undesired authorization requests, and not to engage with people asking for authorization codes.
Vote Oswego is hosting a film festival this Friday to advance their Get Out the Vote initiative. The 4 p.m. festival in the Marano Campus Center Auditorium will feature 10 different short films from the English and cinema departments. Students in attendance will be able to vote for their favorite film upon the conclusion of the event, and they will be able to register to vote in the upcoming November election. Fulton police have released more information regarding a fatal crash last Friday involving a motorbikist and a delivery van. The cyclist, 60-year-old Scott Collins of Fulton, rode through a red light at the intersection of State Route 4, 81, and 3, causing him to collide with the van being driven by 29-year-old Eldon Mills of Fulton. There is no sign of drugs or alcohol being a factor in the collision, and there is no expectations for the issuance of criminal citations.
Tomorrow night is the opening of the Lumiere Project by the Oswego Theater Department. The play is about the tragic true story of a boy who was targeted and killed for being part of the LGBTQ community. The theater department is having their actors play multiple roles in the play to stick to how the original play was put on. The play is free for all students, and there's a $10 admission charge for non-students. We're finally starting to get the chilly fall weather after the fall break. Let's check in with our Storm Team 10 meteorologist, Evan Biederon, on if the temperatures are going to remain low.
Yeah, the temperatures are remain low just for a couple more days, though. No, with those cold temperatures and this warm lake, we're beginning to get a lot of lake effect. Today has been very unsettled, and all throughout tonight, as you can see right now, we're still in the unsettled weather pattern. And further off to the north in the Adirondacks, we're even seeing some snow. Thankfully for us, we're not going to be seeing any of that anytime soon, but we are going to be staying wet and with a lot of rain in our area as we go throughout tonight through tomorrow morning, and then thankfully we're going to dry out just in time for the weekend. I'll have more of my full forecast coming up after the break, but first, back to you guys at the desk.
Coming up, the presidential race is heating up. We have the latest on the campaign trail.
And Israeli officials plan a counterattack on Iran. How the U.S. could be affected.
Jill told me it was Kitty from Glee. Yeah, what is it?
Al Roker.
We're here for you, we're here for you. This is your channel 2. With sports and news and what to do, we're here for you. It's your TV, you're watching WTOP. Your TV, thanks for watching WTOP.
What's going on?
Yeah, dude, we go on at like 11:30. It's like,
No.
what do you mean no?
It's 10:30.
10:30?
Matt, it's 10:30.
What do you mean it's 10:30?
Hey, don't touch that. That's my ladder.
Hey, man.
Whoa. You know this book was already discounted 10%?
Wow.
Wow.
Get a close up of that one. Matthew,
Broadcast news.
Look at that.
can we go back inside? I want to sleep in the studio again.
Welcome back to WTOP. I'm Storm Team Meteorologist Evan Biederon. Like I said before the break, we're going to be staying pretty chilly all throughout tonight. And as we look at our regional temperatures all throughout much of the Northeast and North Midwest, notice a lot of the temperatures in the 40s. As far south as Indianapolis, even Washington, D.C., they're also in the 40s. And you go further out west towards Missouri, they're even in the low 50s. So this is a big blast of cold air that we're seeing. But thankfully, as we go throughout the week, we're not going to be seeing much of these cold temperatures sticking around. But like I said, with those cold air and that warm lake we have, we're seeing a lot more lake effect. And as we look at our future casts, you notice a lot of rain near Rochester, but also some semblance of a lake effect band right here with some snow south of Utica and even some snow up in the Adirondacks. And like I said, but thankfully for us though, we're not going to be seeing much snow in our area. And as you get around maybe Wednesday, late morning, early afternoon, we can start seeing a lot of that rain and snow showers start tapering off, start breaking the clouds starting. And then as you look towards Thursday around midnight, a lot of the clouds are starting to disappear, and as we head towards early Thursday afternoon, look at that, no clouds. So we're seeing a nice Thursday afternoon, a great way to end your week on Friday with some more sunshine. And so let's take you through your day tomorrow. So 6 a.m., that's when that lake effect band's still going to be spinning up a lot of those showers coming off the lake. But by 9 a.m., you know, a lot of those rain showers going to start tapering off, maybe still a couple sprinkles here and there, but by noon and 3 p.m., notice more sunshine in our area, and those temperatures are starting to rise close to the 50s. So tomorrow's going to be cold, but we're not going to be seeing as much rain as we go throughout the day tomorrow. And with these cold temperatures, hockey is finally returning to Oswego. Oswego versus Kings on Saturday, puck drop, sunny and warm. So we're going to see some sunshine and clear skies. And as you head up from the game Temperatures in the low 50s, maybe even in upper 40s, but overall a pretty good night for some hockey. And along with these cold temperatures, how cold are we? I mean, we're pretty cold. Temperatures about 11 degrees below average, but as you know, as you go throughout the week, by Monday, we're 7 degrees above average. So we're kind of flipping the script temperature-wise here in Oswego. So let's take you through your 7-day forecast. Wednesday, again, some chances of lake effect showers early in the morning, but by Thursday and Friday, sunshine return to our area. Temperatures back into the 60s. Saturday, Oswego hockey game, 62 degrees as your high. And as you head into early next week, temperatures rising all the way into the low 70s by Tuesday with mostly sunny skies. That's all for my forecast. Now back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you, Evan. The Small Business Administration's Disaster Loan Program has run out of money following back-to-back major hurricanes. In a statement, President Biden called the program a critical lifeline to small businesses who have been impacted by disasters. President Biden says that Speaker Mike Johnson has promised the fund will be replenished once the House of Representatives returns after the November elections. So far, SBA has received roughly 49,000 applications for relief from those impacted by Hurricanes Helene and Milton.
Santa Monica College in Santa Monica, California canceled all classes and events today after a shooting injured an employee. The victim, who has not been identified, was attacked at Satellite Campus around 9:15 last night. The unnamed victim was struck at least once and was taken to a local hospital by ambulance. Investigators are calling the incident an act of workplace violence and not a random attack, believing that the victim was targeted. The search for the shooter is still ongoing.
It's 3 weeks until Election Day, and it's crunch time for the presidential campaigns, who are looking for new ways to sway voters. The two presidential candidates are sparring over fitness for office with just little time left to move the needle. Karen Kaffa has the latest from Washington.
Vice President Kamala Harris sharpening her attacks on former President Donald Trump's capacity for another term in the White House.
Donald Trump is increasingly unstable and unhinged.
As Democrats grow more fretful about the state of the race, which most national polls see as deadlocked, Harris, in the battleground state of Pennsylvania Monday night, stepped up the urgency in her message, warning of the extremism of a second Trump term.
He's talking about that he considers anyone who doesn't support him or who will not bend to his will an enemy of our country.
Trump was also in Pennsylvania for a town hall Monday night where he stayed on stage and swayed to music after rapping questions.
Play YMCA. Go ahead. Let's go. Nice and loud.
During the event, Trump took his own aim at Harris's capacity for the job.
Well, we have to beat her. Look, we
do.
have to beat her. She's not for this job. Everybody knows it.
Harris has also chided Trump in recent days for not releasing medical records after releasing a letter from her physician Saturday, tying it to a lack of transparency on Trump's part.
Are they afraid that people will see that he is too weak and unstable?
Trump has responded multiple times on his social media platform Truth Social, including calling on Monday for Harris to take a cognitive test and falsely claiming he's released more medical records than any president in history. Trump last released a letter from his doctor in November 2023, but it did not include the types of medical tests Trump took or the results. In Washington, I'm Karen Kaffa.
Both candidates were active on the campaign trail today, with Vice President Harris speaking with Charlemagne during a radio town hall in Detroit. Former President Trump also had a campaign rally in Atlanta.
Israeli officials continue ongoing discussions of a possible counterstrike against Iran following Iranian missiles fired on October 1st. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, along with several other Israeli officials, have assured the United States that the counterstrike on Iran will be limited to military targets. During a classified phone call last week, Netanyahu reassured President Biden his plans were to avoid nuclear and oil targets. A strike on oil fields could send energy prices soaring, while hitting Iran's nuclear facilities could worsen the regional war.
South Korea blew up northern sections of several unused roads leading to South Korea this morning as a symbolic way to display anger. This nation's leader, Kim Jong-un, has vowed to cut relations with South Korea following claims the South flew drones over their capital Pyongyang. No South Korean forces were damaged or injured. These observing the relations say that it was unlikely that Kim Jong-un will launch a large-scale attack today on South Korea. Next on WTOP-10, Learn about record-setting fine for airline.
And a popular pharmacy is closing many stores nationwide. All that and more right after this break.
And it could be your last chance to see one occur for 2 decades, as the next time one will be visible over the continental U.S.
He's May 84. Yarrow told police in the hospital that he had pressed the doorbell and waited.
They mix with oxygen and nitrogen and briefly
What's going on?
Yeah, dude, we go on at like 11:30. It's like
No.
What do you mean no?
It's 10:30.
10:30?
Yeah, it's 10:30.
What do you mean it's 10:30?
Hey, don't touch that. That's my ladder.
Hey, man.
Whoa. You know this book was already discounted 10%?
Wow.
Wow.
Get a close-up of that one. Matthew,
Broadcast news.
Look at that.
can we go back inside? I want to sleep in the studio again.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Welcome back to WTOP-10 Nightly News.
German powerhouse airline Lufthansa has been fined a record $4 million for violating the rights of Jewish passengers. The U.S. Department of Transportation announced today's fine stemming from a May 2022 incident where their airline denied flight entry to 128 passengers wearing traditional Orthodox Jewish clothing on a flight from New York City to Frankfurt. The report cited minor wrongdoing by some of the passengers, but Lufthansa took full responsibility for their minor misconduct and pledged steps to improve themselves. Moving on, it's probably not something you want to believe, but we are all surrounded by viruses. In fact, the average home houses a large biodiversity. Research has uncovered never-before-seen viruses that live on the surfaces of items you use every day, like toothbrushes. Mandy Gather has more on how studies say these microbes could save lives.
They're damp and warm and perfect environments for microbes. You may not want to think about the viruses that live on shower heads and toothbrushes, but researchers did it for you.
It's unsurprising that we find them there because we find a bunch of bacteria basically everywhere. But what was surprising is how many different viruses we found and how different they looked from anything that we had ever seen before.
Microbiologist Erica Hartman led a study which found something called bacteriophage all over these two environments. While that sounds bad, she says these are not viruses that make you sick. Instead, they infect bacteria, and these could potentially be used to save lives.
For a long time, we've relied on antibiotics to be able to treat infections and save lives. But right now, antimicrobial resistance is one of the biggest public health challenges that we're facing globally. And so there's a lot of hope that we can leverage things like bacteriophage to help treat these infections that we can no longer treat with antibiotic drugs.
Hartman says the hope is that these phages, or something learned from them, will aid in the development of better drugs or improved biotechnologies.
We need microbes to, in our gut, help us digest our food, on our skin, help us to ward off pathogens. And it's actually a really good thing that we are exposed to microbes from time to time.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Studies also show a direct link between the feeling of loneliness and how a person feels about their current life. Those who experience loneliness were 5 times more likely to rate their current lives poorly compared to those who do not struggle with it. It's important to choose a career path you'll enjoy and surround yourself with individuals who make your daily life better to avoid the hardships that come with prolonged loneliness.
The famous drugstore chain Walgreens will be closing 1,200 stores across the states due to rising online competitors. Walgreens reported a $3 billion loss last year, largely because of Chinese pharmaceutical chain provider called Care Citrix. With the rise of online distributors, it is said by 2027, about 1 in 7 Walgreens across the country currently open will close its doors. Now up in sports, James Fitzpatrick.
It's a good time to be a New York baseball fan. The Mets and Yankees have both made the championship series. This is the first time in 24 years that both teams have made it this far at the same time. The Mets are heading home after splitting the first 2 games against the Dodgers. Tomorrow will be the first NLCS game at Citi Field in 9 years. As for the Yankees, they're back in the ALCS for the second time in 3 years. The Yankees were victorious in their first meeting with the Guardians in this series by a final score of 5-2. That series will continue Tuesday night in the Bronx. We have some great baseball in our future, but the question is, will we see a Subway Series? Up next in sports, Oswego hockey is coming back this week, plus 2 blockbuster trades in the NFL today. That and more after the break.
What's going on?
Yeah, we go on at like 11:30. It's like
No.
What do you mean no?
It's 10:30.
10:30?
Yeah, it's 10:30.
What do you mean it's 10:30?
Hey, don't touch that. That's my ladder.
Hey, man.
Whoa. You know this book was already discounted 10%?
Wow. Get a closer with that one. Matthew,
Broadcast news.
Look at that.
can we go back inside? I want to sleep in the studio again.
We'll deep dive into our feelings in our Real Talk segment. Stay tuned because it's about to get real.
Good evening, my name is Luke Belanger and I'm your sports anchor for tonight. Playoffs for the SUNYAC are creeping up on us. One team I'd like to recognize as we are close to the postseason is the Oswego men's soccer team. They are currently stand at 7-2-3 and 2-2-1 in SUNYAC play. With 4 games left in the regular season, the guys stand in 6th place in the SUNYAC. This season has been a big turnaround for the men as they only had a 2 in the win column last year. We're 2 weeks away from some hopeful noise from the men's soccer team in the most important part of the season. Well, if playoffs are happening for fall sports, then winter sports must be coming up. Winter sports brings hockey. This weekend on Saturday, October 19th, the women have an exhibition game against the Rome Grizzlies, and then later in the evening at 7 p.m., the puck drops for the men. They will face off against the King's College. Both of these games will be at Deborah F. Stanley Arena. We widen our lens to some pro sports news. LA Clippers star Kawhi Leonard is expected to miss the rest of the preseason and possibly the beginning of the regular season. The Clippers, losing the scoring threat of Paul George in the offseason to Philly, needed a healthy season from Kawhi Leonard this year. He has struggled with injuries in the past, and LA, as well as everyone that enjoys a good NBA player, is hoping that Lillard can fight this one off for opening night, a week from tomorrow against Kevin Durant and the Suns. Wide receivers in the AFC East just got a whole lot better. Former Raider Davante Adams is on the move to reunite with his old partner in crime, Aaron Rodgers, and the New York Jets. Personally, this is a head-scratcher. Adams obviously not happy with his situation in Vegas, but he goes to another struggling situation. Adam goes to bed on a mediocre 2-4 AFC team and wakes up on another mediocre 2-4 AFC team. On the other hand, Amari Cooper is headed to Western New York to a Bills team that needed just that, a talented, hardworking wideout. Amari Cooper's situation gets a lot better as he goes from a washed-up Deshaun Watson to one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. We pick up in Baltimore, it's Ravens and Commanders. It's King Henry, and he gets in for his 7th touchdown of the year and his first of 2 on the day. Jaden Daniels, the rookie phenom, will look and find his number 1 target. It's Terry McLaurin. McLaurin has really came alive as of late. 4 touchdowns in the past 4 games. Year in and year out, he does not disappoint. It's right before half, and we are knotted up at 10. And Lamar is scanning, and finally he finds Mark Andrews. Man, oh man, finally. That was big for Andrews. He needed that. Andrews scores his first touchdown of the season, but this one is historic. He ties former Ravens tight end Todd Heap with 41 touchdowns as a Raven. 1 more for Andrews, and he will lead the franchise in touchdowns by a tight end. 20-13 Ravens looking for insurance, and again, it's Henry. 7 yards on the score. Derrick Henry's good season will continue. The Ravens have always been a good team on the ground, and when you add a guy like Derrick Henry, it's bound to continue. McLaurin will score again on a 6-yard reception, but it won't be enough. The Ravens will take down Jaden Daniels and company 20-13. These are 2 obvious teams in January that could be serious contenders in the AFC.
Thank you, Luke. That's a report to the night. Be sure to stay tuned for Entertainment Breach.
Thank you for watching. Have a great night, everyone.